Northwest Bail Fund is essentially this woke organization that collects money from people who want to give their money to them to bail criminals out of jail. Okay? And it went on hiatus for a while, and I thought, okay, good. Maybe it'll never come back. Well, it's coming back, and it's more woke than ever. I'm going to get into some of the issues that I have, because bail is a constitutional right. I have no issue with people posting bail, but there are some fundamental issues that these funds create in the criminal justice system, in accountability, in public safety that I'll dive into. But just to kind of revisit, so the Northwest Bail Fund was getting a lot of attention again a couple years ago. They were bailing out some people who turned out to be really, really bad individuals. And again, I'll get to that in a moment. But just to kind of remind you, they're going to start taking requests again. I believe tomorrow, Nicole, they're going to start taking requests again. But on their website, it had said, we're unable to accept new bail assistance requests at this time. We will resume accepting new requests on September 15th, tomorrow. We are still going to post bail for requests we received before July 1st, 2023. We will not respond to inquiries regarding new requests at this time, blah, 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 blah. So they had basically put the whole thing on pause. And then Jonathan Cho tweeted out today that he got an email, kind of a community alert talking about this program is going to be coming back. It said, Northwest Community Bail Fund will begin once again to accept requests for bail assistance on September 15th, 2023. We appreciate your patience as we concentrated on the internal work necessary to lay the groundwork for our restructure. Over the summer, we put a lot of thought and effort into assessing who we serve and are responsible to. Come September 15th, we will be focusing on standing between those most vulnerable to abuse by the systems of policing and court-imposed cash bail and those impressive systems. Therefore, we will be prioritizing bail assistance for self-identified non-white and non-cisgender people. So if you're white or you happen to be to identify as the gender you were born into, then you need not ask the Northwest Bail Fund for any help. They went on to say that they will also include factors for who they decide to bail out. Factors are include but are not limited to health factors, pregnancy, impending loss of a job, housing or shelter bed, caretaking responsibilities, and potential separation of families. And they say that they came to all these new standards like, hey, we're not going to help you if you're white or you're cisgender, after undergoing an intensive anti-racist strategic planning process and carefully examining our practices, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, why am I opposed to a bail fund? Okay, there's a few reasons. First of all, bail funds are not as responsible for individuals. If you or I were to get arrested and we went before a judge and the judge determined there was probable cause for the charges that we were arrested for investigation of, and they're going to set bail based on factors like my likelihood to reoffend, my likelihood to come back to court, then traditionally how it works, let's say it's $1,000 bail. I might have to provide collateral to show that I have something worth $1,000, where if I don't show back up in court, that thing is going to be taken away from me. Traditionally, I'd go, if I don't have the money, and I'd go to a bail bondsman, and then I might have to put 20% cash down in order to get out. And you sacrifice that to the bail bondsman. And then you also might, if it's so high, have to have collateral. So now I have a personal investment, or my family member might do it. You might have a murder suspect who puts their mom's house as collateral, or their mom puts their house as collateral. You can't put somebody else's house that doesn't belong to you as collateral. And then you have that incentive to say, okay, if I don't come back to court, mom's house is going to be sold so that the bail bondsman can be paid, because the bail bondsman's now on the hook for my $1 million bond or whatever it was. So that is an incentive. And that's why we've talked a lot on the show in recent weeks about the importance of setting some sort of monetary bail and not letting criminals go on their own personal recognizance. Because then it's like, okay, what incentive do they have not to come back to court? Because there's going to be a warrant out for their arrest? I doubt they care. So when you have these these bond funds, and it's just other woke citizens contributing $5, $10, $20 and saying to the bond fund, you bail out people who you want to bail out. Well, that fund and those individuals, they don't really they've already given their money to the fund. And the person who's been bailed out, why would they say, oh, well, these good citizens came together to bail me out, so I better go back to court so these people I've never met and don't know get their money back? No, they don't care, right? And there have been some examples. For instance, the first murder of 2023 in Seattle, the first homicide of this year, was by a man who the Northwest Bail Fund bailed out. Not only that, and this is an article from Como News, nearly 52% of the defendants bailed out by the fund since mid-2020 failed to appear for their court dates, according to the King. You don't say. Well, you just tickle me. I would have never anticipated that would be the case. It says, also among those the bail fund assisted, more than 20% were later charged with a new felony, versus 15% of defendants who posted bail without the fund. Yeah, but that first homicide, again, of 2023, this is from Como News, the man in custody for Seattle's first homicide of 2023 had previously been bailed out of jail by a nonprofit with a track record of assisting violent repeat offenders. So again, first of all, I need to know who gives their money to this cause out of all the causes out there. Even if you want a cause that you think is going to help BIPOC communities, for instance, first of all, I feel like it's a little racist to say, well, we're going to help BIPOC communities by contributing to a bail fund that gets people out of prison, as if BIPOC people, that's like the only help they need is to get out of prison. That's so weird to me. Soft bigotry of low expectations. But again, this is like, at that point, monopoly money. Because again, there's no incentive for that alleged criminal to come back to court if their concern was losing the money that they had to put up to get out of jail. Because it's not their money. You think they really care? No. 52% of defendants bailed out by the fund since mid-2020 failed to appear for their court dates. This is not a surprise. This is not shocking stuff. And I spoke a couple months ago to a bail bondsman gathering. I just talked about some of the issues with public safety. And again, the important work they do. It's really important. They help people facilitate their constitutional rights when they're innocent until proven guilty, to not rot away in a jail cell. That's very, very important. But I was also told, and it's something we continue to look into, that sometimes, so for instance, if you've got grandma bailed you out, right? And you didn't show up for court. There are certain instances where a judge might feel really generous and say, okay, we're not going to charge grandma all that money, give her money back or something like that. But there are instances where the judges are doing that for the bail fund and saying, hey, this person didn't show up. Usually you'd have to forfeit all that amount, but we'll give it back to you, which they don't often do for defendants. So it's all just really, really interesting. But I cannot, first of all, this is going to be bad for public safety. This is also going to be incredibly, I think, telling of who this fund, after this brief hiatus, decides to bail out. Because again, they have a track record of bailing out repeat violent offenders, at least one of which went on to kill someone. So they're back. I really want to know who's contributing to that cause.